Defense is a stronger form of waging war. General Karl von Clausewitz. But defense is passive. Its purpose is preservation. The purpose of assault is conquest.
Welcome back, my dearest friends. Welcome back to something very special, I would say. Welcome back to ever so amazing, sexy Blitzkrieg 3. Yes, I'm gonna be playing one of those games. Now, as you all know, if you actually watch any of my Soundstrike videos, you do know that I'm not very much a fan of this Blitzkrieg series. If I compare it to Southern Strike, because in the end of the day, Blitzkrieg has its own thing going for it compared to Southern Strike. Smaller maps, more detail and all the good stuff like that, and much more popular than Southern Strike, I would say. Though Southern Strike is way better game than Blitzkrieg if we compare, because of the huge scope, the units and everything that Southern Strike had, and Blitzkrieg could never achieve at the end of the day. Plus, really, the maps themselves are a big thing. Now I'm playing Blitzkrieg 3 here. It's a new game, just got released in June, and I gained this beautiful game from my amazing sexy friend Chubz, who you may know from some of my multiplayer videos for Southern Strike that I cast so many long years ago, so time has passed, I would say, since the last time I actually did a Southern Strike video, specifically a multiplayer video with my dear evil friend Chubz, and he gave me this for my birthday. This beautiful game that I actually did not expect it to be that amazing, and I do mean that the game is really good. Like, I honestly did not expect this. Again, considering my history with Blitzkrieg and all that, I've seen some videos, especially at the beginning. I was very disgusted by this game, the way they wanted it. It's multiplayer only, well, online only game, mind you. That means you always have to be online to play this game. There is no offline mode. There are, of course, three campaigns, three sides: the Allies, the USSR, and the Germany, which we're playing as the USSR because I finished the German and the Allies campaign. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna do these videos for the USSR specifically. And the moment I started playing this first mission, the Luga line, I was just amazed, because when you zoom in, you see the details and everything. But that's not the point we're going to talk. We're going to talk when we enter the beautiful mission. So first and foremost, big ass thank you to my sexy beast-like German friend Chubz for the beautiful present that I honestly did not expect again. I was actually looking for this game to, you know, I was on YouTube when it was released or pre-released footage. And I was like, well, this game doesn't look bad at all. It doesn't feel bad anymore. It doesn't look like shite like the before, at least. It doesn't feel like shite when I seen it long ass time ago. They did completely different. They wanted a completely different way. The Nival Interactive. They wanted a completely different way to go with the series. And honestly, they had a huge backlash because of it from many of the fans, be it Southern Strike or Blitzkrieg fans. Because just the fact that they changed too much, the feel of the game was not what they wanted. They wanted one multiplayer only kind of a game, and then you buy campaigns as a DLC thing. But now on the release, you gain 3 campaigns, you gain a lot of units, you gain with a lot of fucking units with these campaigns, you level them up, you get a workshop, which is a workshop, not the Steam workshop, you have the own game workshop, which is the way you upgrade your units the moment you gain points for the workshop. Of course, we're gonna get into that point down the line the moment the game unlocks, because every time in each of these campaigns you get, the first is a tutorial bunch of missions, and they slowly explain you why is this green, why is it blue, why is there a star on it, why this is an important mission. specifically, so that's why this is like this. For instance, it's a historical mission, I guess. Maybe, who knows, maybe I'm lying like a dog, but hell's bell, after 2 campaigns I would know, I guess. And of course here you also can see 3 things, specifically the early war period, the mid-war, and the late war. That's a tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 units for the game, which you unlock as you go through it, through doing the secondary objectives, primary objectives, and etc, etc. Here of course you can see a bunch of whatever, the combat ranking in the assault player mode, you have the skirmish rankings, and of course you have the assault based mode ranking. And these are 3 modes in the game that you gain as a multiplayer mode. Specifically, we're doing the single player mode here, but you have the multiplayer, which is actually intertwined, mind you. You have your base, which you can level up, or I have no idea, honestly. They don't try the base defense mode, but you have a huge chunk of videos on YouTube, but if you've not seen them, the base defense and base assault modes. I'm more interested in classical capture the flag kind of type mode, the zone control, which are much more favorite, more classical kind of engagement versus the player. And there is an AI battle at the moment of this recording. It's 1v1 against the Boris AI of some fancy new AI. Don't care much for it, but you have a choice of difficulty with it, so you can just level up your units that way, because at the moment each of these units survive your battle, they actually level up and go into the next mission, no problem. You don't actually lose units in terms of, okay, so you gain these reserves, you have a bunch of units, right, and you lose them in the mission, then you don't have them for the next mission. No, nothing like that. You just don't get the XP for that specific unit for the next mission, you know, so you have to again level them up and hopefully you keep them alive for long enough. Now this game is made in Unity engine. Very much, I must say, I'm very impressed because of the amount of detail they put into the game. It looks mind-blowingly amazing the moment we actually enter the beautiful thing. And we will, immediately, but I do have to warn you a little bit here. My computer is not that great. I'm playing the highest graphical settings and all that, but my computer is not that great. But I'm forcing it to do the impossible. So there's gonna be stuttering, specifically when there are massive explosions, and you know, I'm gonna try and avoid those if possible. But considering some moments are just, you know, just laggy, I'm just gonna go with it. Hell's my ramping battle. At least I'm gonna be able to show you at least maybe a few missions, if not all of them, if the lag, you know, if the stuttering doesn't really become a massive thing. So I'm gonna at least show you what amazing this actually game is. Because truly the Blitzkrieg 3 is definitely an amazing game. As of this moment, I could definitely say that 2 campaigns down, now going for the USSR, and the amount of detail and love they definitely put into this game is massive. So let's finally begin the Luga line. You press on this beautiful thing and you get the commander that is assigned, and you can actually choose a bunch of commanders through the basically secondary missions. For secondary missions, for the primary missions like this, you actually gain a specific commander that you have to deal with. So of course you get the historical reference, and you get the rewards you gain through the mission. Well, that is if you do certain things. For the main, you can see we get a T-70. Actually tells you exactly what it has, the armament, the armor. I really love that detail, the tech armor of that specific tank, and of course what armor, 45mm AT gun. You have the 7.62mm DT machine gun, and it costs of the reinforcement, that is the 40 cost for this specific unit. You can see the sell point of 1160, and as I said already, front, side and back armors. And we will be gaining, this is specifically if we finish the main objective, this is what we gain: 3 of T-70s, you can see the number 3, and of course we get BA-30s with a DT machine gun, APCs, armored cars, that is, so we get 3 of those. If we finish the additional objectives, we do gain a Su-76 with 76mm gun. That is the SPG, 2 of those, and we gain the anti-tank mines. And I think this specifically just for the base defense, because you have the specific things that you can position on your your base defense multiplayer. So position mines here, mines there, and all that good stuff. Now, if we do achievement for all this, like this is usually the hardest thing you can actually achieve in the game, is of course the achievement, the red stuff, and we will be gaining 2 assault squads. You can see they're tier 1 on the upper right corner. You see the health as per usual, and you see exactly which year it's utilizing of the specific gun. Through each tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3, the units actually look different. That's specifically the infantry assault squads of tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3. That is same for the machine gun teams, which are actually freaking useful in Blitzkrieg. Finally, you gain of course many different types of riflemen. which are your just regular. But the thing is, about Blitzkrieg 3 compared to Blitzkrieg 2 and even Blitzkrieg 1, the infantry is actually useful, very much so. But they can easily be killed, but they actually feel it. You don't feel, it's not like shitty Blitzkrieg 2 infantry, which I hated to utilize in the game because they were useless. But in this one, they're amazing. So we would be gaining Pt.1 submachine guns at 1940, and we get cluster of RG-33 grenades of 1933. And we get a cost, of course, and we also get additionally a DK machine gun emplacement. But we will not care for those, we will never utilize it. But the most important is the assault squad, the Su-76, and of course the T-70. For now, of course, this is the first mission, so we gain that's specifically the lightest stuff. The advancing German units have overstretched their forces and exposed their flanks to a counter-strike. The command wants to take advantage of the situation and strike a blow. Your squads have orders to pass through swampy terrain to the enemy's rear and retake a village occupied German forces. Then you have to consolidate on those positions and prevent enemy attempts to break out of the encirclement. Mission objectives. So main objective, weaken the enemy, capture and hold the village. Secondary objectives, arrange a defense of the village. So this is the secondary objective. Then if you finish it, you gain the Su-76. And the achievement is the howitzer must remain in commission. So if whatever howitzer we gain down the line, I guess, if it has to be in commission to survive the entire mission. So then we would be gaining the 2 additional assault squad. This is highly important to gain these achievements because, for instance, the last mission for the Germans and the Allies is pretty freaking hard. Getting the achievement additional objectives can be tough as nails, and getting those specifically some cool, really amazing equipment usually in these last missions is of paramount importance, because at the end of the day, for instance, for the Germans it's a Jagdtiger which can rape everything with one shot, but that's an additional objective. But you have to finish every single additional objective and every single achievement to actually get these rewards. Otherwise, only one additional objective failed, it's a GG. You will not be gaining this for additional objectives or achievements. So there is that. Okay, so we're gonna be entering the battle. We have no reserves to choose from. This bottom point is the reserves. We will be able to choose units from down the line, and specifically, and of course the amount of points will be displayed here of how much you can actually utilize that specific amount of units. So if there's 500 point unit, you know, it's like in tabletop, you can only bring 500 point army. So let's finally begin.
18 июля 1941-го. Новая задача.
Путь через болото выведет вас прямо к немецкому блокпосту. Будьте осторожны. Фрицы наверняка выставили патрули.
Okay, so finally we begin, and the stuttering already is there because, you know, thankfully those cutscenes are only for the main mission sometimes, and only sometimes you get those cutscenes. In general, you never get those cutscenes, so it's all great there. But when the massive battle begins, then the demon cries. But it's okay, because considering Blitzkrieg doesn't really, in Blitzkrieg 3, you don't really have those massive battles. You have massive battles, but only in locations, you know, in historical sense. Otherwise, not really. So first and foremost, this is as much as you can zoom in. And the first also the thing I can say about this game, just by the look of it, it's an amazing amount of detail on the entirety of the map. Every single map is highly detailed in terms of little bit, you know, rocks here, a table over there, and as we're going to be playing, I'm going to show you off that, because to me that is the most important thing in any game, is the amount of detail the game actually has. I hate games that have maps that are just basic arenas with no life, like in Blizzard games, that is specifically StarCraft, you know, the arena maps and all that, they never really have a love in them, for instance. But in this game they do, and that to me is really important. That's the first thing I always look. The next thing is the detail of the soldiers, the detail of the model, specifically of the infantry, because to me the infantry is the most important aspect of any game. If in any game the infantry is useless, to me basically the game becomes kind of a blech. Men of War, Company of Heroes do that the best way. War Game even does it amazing. In this game also they do it very well. Blitzkrieg 2 did not do such a thing. And we have of course here the assault team. The assault teams, as you can see, they come with, again, a PPD-40 submachine gun. They are tier 1, and that's exactly what you'll be always getting for a tier 1 type of assault squad. They might be unique assault squads, like named squads, purple. So of course there are like 3, you know, it's like in the term of Diablo games and all those collector games. You have like the basic white cards, and you have the purple, blue, you know, the legendary and shed like rare and all that crap. And these are, for instance, blue. Then you have the green card that is more important than that. That is the blue, you know, the unit. And then you have the purple unit, which is like the greatest fucking unit, the legendary unit or some crap like that. In this case, we have the blue. Now, assault teams are very fast. They are the fastest units from what I've noticed in the game. They move fast as hell. They have the ability to drop nades. Of course, they do have these anti-tank grenades. Not very useful against infantry. They still drop it, I like that way. You have the ability to assault buildings with the assault teams, understandable, right? The infantry unit will rush towards the building and attempt to assault it. During the assault unit can't shoot from the inside the building and can't be shot at from outside, which is actually good. We have also the ability to dig in. They should dig a trench. You can dig a trench on any surface almost, not really, but most of the surface. And I've never actually utilized, well, I only utilized this one in German campaign. For a specific point where I failed a specific objective, so I just prepared it that way, and it's very beautiful. I mean, the way that you can do that. There are no engineers. Immediately I will say that for those interested. No engineer squads. There are no, from what I've noticed through 2 campaigns, you do not have resources, that is resource trucks. You don't have to worry about the ammunition of your units. You cannot replenish the health of that squad when it dies down with the models. So there is that. There is no heal. In general, they removed the things that are resources in the game, like in previous Blitzkrieg 1 and Sunstrike, for instance, or something like that. You have the ammunition. There is nothing to worry about that. They do gain XP as they kill and if they survive mission, which is more important. But in the end of the day, in terms of ammunition, you have nothing to worry about. Just waste that ammunition. How much you want. So hell's mother humming bells. To many people, that's probably gonna be like, oh, this arcade. It is thing that I first didn't like, but I realized, you know what, fudge it. Go with what you can, to be honest. If a game is good gameplay-wise and it just feels right, whereas Blitzkrieg 3 does feel right, it's a must, right? So here also we have the lie down. In a prone position, it is less mobile, but more difficult for enemies to hit. It's a little bit buggy at the moment, because sometimes, like you press V, they drop on the ground like that, go prone, and they slowly and sometimes very fast. You see like this fast. I have no idea if this is specifically the assault squad, and we have to test that, because sometimes these specific units, the infantry, regular infantry, rifleman infantry, they take something like very slow all of a sudden, and all of a sudden these guys are so fast. Maybe because they are assault infantry, so there is that. So let's pop them up. We'll be meeting our first German squad right here, the basic rifleman. You can pause the game at any moment, and thankfully the music continues. The music track, which is like one long ass track, it's a combination from one it's the kind of combination of the feels from the No One Lives Forever game, that is the first No One Lives Forever with Kate Archer, and of course Red Alert 3. It has that type of a tone. It's very beautiful, to be honest. So I'm gonna just up the music for this a moment a little bit. So we're gonna go onto the sound. I'm gonna go a little bit to music. Just a tad bit of a music, because the music is not bad at all, to be honest. It does repeat, this stuff become like a little bit, it's, you know, like heard it hundreds of times again, but I still enjoy it because of these certain tones that remind me of some older games that I love. So anyway, let's move on through the swampy area and meet our first infantry squad. Okay.
Продвигайтесь вперед. Наша пехота будет следовать за вами.
Beautiful stuff. So we have to take care of those infantry squad. Now if you press, I'm gonna press space just to see what the infantry of the German Reich is at this moment. Tier 1 unit. If you go over them, you wait a little bit, it tells you what they have. They have the Gewehr 98 rifle, which is tier 1 infantry, so they Gewehr, and metal detectors, which are basically infantry has metal detectors to find mines. They have the ability to break down defenses and stuff like that, like barbed wires or whatever other stuff that is specifically tank traps and all that. They also have the cluster of hand grenades, and that's about it. Now as you can see, a squad suitable for clearing minefields and destroying obstacles. Low cost but moderate combat effectiveness. And they have the longest range compared to the assault infantry, because after all they are utilizing the assault stuff. So let's start and let's meet up with these bastards. Move attack has got E, and here comes the battle. There goes one of the Germans. Let's go down so they can really kill us completely. Hopefully this is gonna go well. We already lost one of our units. Beautiful stuff. I hear a tank. Oh, we have also behind us the anti-tank squads of the Russians.
Патруль ликвидирован. Продвигаемся дальше.
Здесь это можно.
Excellent. So we finished our first enemy off, and we also have the anti-tank squad. Now, usually for the tier 1 specific, for the Americans or the Allies and the Germans, it's the hand grenades of type, right? The AT grenades. For the Russians, it will seem it's a PTRS AT rifle, which I really love that detail. I'm not a fan of having those shitty nades for the tier 1 anti-tank infantry, but definitely I also mean for the anti-tank squad that is for the Russians. But I think they only come in three models compared to those anti-tank infantry for the regular tier 1 sides of the German or for the Germany or the Amerikanskis, or should I say the Allies. Okay, let's get up. Beautiful stuff. Let's move on. So also the bodies always stay, the damage always stays in the entire game. It never disappears. That's one of those beautiful things that I really like, is the bodies do stay. No blood, but they do stay. Also there is one annoyance in this game that really it's bad design, I would say, is the way the Nival did the rotation. Rotation is with insert and home at the moment that I left it that way, and you can do a full 360, which is annoying as fuck, considering that they have already Blitzkrieg 2. It's a fully 3D game and they still fuck it up for Blitzkrieg 3. I have no idea how do you succeed. Maybe it's just because of the Unity engine, I have no clue. But anyway, let's move across this swampy terrain and let's meet our friends here. We have the anti-tank squad, German ones.
Похоже, сел на брюхо. И чего их в болото потянуло? Отряд с противотанковыми ружьями поможет разобраться с этим танком. Ждем приказов.
And as you can see, of course, the anti-tank squad for the Germans, they only have a Walter PP and have a cluster M24 hand grenades. That's how they come in with the play of this thing. There you go, beautiful stuff. Stay there, please. Okay, so here is our first enemy tank. A Panzer II, I would say. Yes, Panzer II with 20mm cannons. Panzer IIA specifically with 20mm cannons. They have the 50mm armor on all sides. The only health is 700. So let's deal with him with the anti-tank squads. Let's move in. As you can see, also the anti-tank squad, the team has to lie down with those massive PTRS rifles. So let's deal with these bastards. Let's see how that's gonna go for us. He's a little bit stuck, definitely, here, because that's the point of this at the moment. Mission is to kill him while he's stuck in the swampy area with the damnable thing. I did remove the health bars, by the way, because I really prefer it that way. As I said, every damage stays on the battlefield, unless you go it through with the tanks, through the wrecks, that is. So they disappeared then. But otherwise, they stay like this forever. Well, not the fiery thing, but Hell's Mother Effing Palace. So let's move on. Thankfully, I don't have to tell them to go V into the position, that is to lie down. No point for the anti-tank rifles. And again, the detail on the units is amazing. Sadly, we cannot really zoom in, but they are not, in terms of, as I said, Company of Heroes type of looking infantry models, the high poly models. They do look a little bit blocky, really zoomed in. But they have a massive amount of detail nonetheless, very sharp textures when they're zoomed in the cinematics, as you have seen already in the first cinematic when you've seen the Germans. Very, very tight. Game has been saved. So again, we're gonna move in with the assault infantry first and foremost. This is as much zoom we can get in the game, which is amazing. And you can easily see what unit is what with little circles telling you what is this. With the X, we have the assault. With this diamond shape, that's an AT and the anti-tank. And we have another assault squad behind us, thankfully. Let's go through this swampy terrain. Let's move down the line to our next objective, which is this checkpoint. We have to utilize the assault squads to penetrate that objective.
Техники не видно, это хорошо. Но пехота, засевшая в доме, может оказаться проблемой.
Excellent. So we do have a little bit of a problem here. We have an infantry inside, and if we'll go
Лучше
over the
подойти
checkpoint,
поближе к дому и взять его штурмом, а потом разобраться с теми, что на улице.
you can actually see the garrison defense. It's weak. So presumably probably they're gonna just be more anti-tank troops there. Let's see, the anti-tank squad actually does come also in 3. So it does, no, it does actually come in 3 guys. Okay, even for all of them. Okay, good to know. So they're the same as our own tier 1, but except we have a range, and these guys have to get close to vehicles to actually nuke them with the nades. So let's go around. We have the additional, so I'm going to try and keep all my units alive for as long as possible, but they were probably going to die. So first and foremost, we're going to go into this, we're going to hide a little bit here, and do a full charge on this. And let's see how this is going to go for the assault squad. Of course, there should be, because I don't think they're going to do much against us. Come on. And here begins the fight inside inside the checkpoint, inside this watchtower, or whatever. Beautiful job. There you go. And they're immediately dropping nades on us. Those douchebags. Let's move the anti-tank units over here. Let's get close to them and start opening fire upon these bastards. There you go. Again, I'm utilizing the goddamn submachine guns against these fuckers. They only have the Walther. Let's open fire against them. Thank you very much.
Выполнена.
Вражеский блокпост захвачен. Путь открыт. Ждем подкрепления и выдвигаемся к деревне. Подкрепление здесь. Теперь можно идти в атаку.
Excellent.
Новая задача.
So, we have gained a bunch of units, and specifically a bunch of good units, important units, like specifically the infantry. Now, as I said, infantry, specifically the infantry squad, it's called infantry squad, but they're basic active duty infantry, that is the riflemen. I'm calling them riflemen. The riflemen squads. The rifleman squads in Blitzkrieg 3 are useful. They have a longest range compared to our friends here, the assault squads. They have, again, the same type of blue, red, blue, purple, green, whatever cards. They get better over time, I think, or maybe not. No. That's my mistake. They are always, I think, gray cards, or maybe not. I do remember some guard infantry squads, so, fudge. We will be getting good ones down the line, probably. So we shall see. But at the moment, we have the most basic one with what exactly? Again, the AVS-36 rifle. That's exactly what they are utilizing. Thank you very much. And as I said, they have the ability to remove obstructions, allows you to dismantle anti-tank hedgehogs, limited number of uses. I've used this quite a bit in the German campaign. Also, the mine sweeping allows you to disarm any mines within a specific area, also highly important. So as you see, no engineering squads, no nothing like that, no engineering trucks of any kind to remove and make this happen, right, like in previous games. So now you have the infantry can do all that most of the time, which is great because now the infantry is more useful than in previous games. In previous games I avoided utilizing completely. Okay, so we're done, are we? Yes, we are. Let's move into the next objective, and I'm gonna, of course, move to 2 sides. We have a little bit open area over here. We're gonna go on top of this beautiful thing. We're gonna spread them in 2 teams. We're gonna have 2 teams. We have enough of we have 2 assault squads. We're gonna assault squad with the rifleman team, the rifleman squad over here. We're gonna have anti-tank squad on the side over here. Now, of course, I already played this mission, not finished it, failed completely in the village when we reached the village. But that's gonna be a point for a different time because I'm gonna make this a 2 to 3 parter probably 2 parter, but we shall see how this is gonna go. So let's exit this building, and as you can see already, they are pretty much damaged here on the card. Of course, as I said, I did remove the hell bars over them, so I'm gonna maybe a little. It's a little bit annoying to me because I mean they're nothing like really like in your face. But still, I prefer when I have a cleaner look at my infantry like this, right? And maybe preferably like press a button and shows the hell bars of the units, not just on these points. So let's go through the forest. Now the forested areas in this game allow you to hide specific units. Some units can hide, they stay a little bit longer than like than 5 seconds, right? They stay a little bit longer, they hide inside the forested areas. They gain a little bit eye icon, and that eye icon tells they are hidden, and they can actually look over the enemy. Well, I think it also helps the specific unit to look a little bit beyond the wood areas. There's a true line of sight. It works wonders sometimes. Sometimes it's a strange thing, considering, you know, like we're like this, right? The enemy will still be able to see you inside the forested areas. Considering, again, it's a forested areas, heavily forested area, you would not be able to really see infantry inside forest. You should not be able to see infantry inside forested area with ease. Like the tanks would easily see that bullshit and all that. But as I said, the infantry is much more useful in Blitzkrieg 3. In Blitzkrieg 3, they give a sight for tanks. You have to have infantry near your tanks, otherwise they're pretty fucking blind. At the moment, nobody is going blind here. It will seem no eye icon. Fine and dandy. Let's move in with the infantry. Continue moving in, because we have an objective right here, which will be utilizing a special thing for it.
Позицию и докладывают о крупных силах противника на сборном пункте. Направляю к вам штурмовой самолет. Укажите пилоту координаты позиции противника. Но в деревню не суйтесь, там зенитки.
Получены очки подкреплений.
Okay, so we finally gained the ability to utilize some of the support powers. Usually you get a huge chunk of support powers. They cost also your reserve points, and then you can't utilize anything until you maybe capture next objective and the next objective. Not by killing units, you do not gain these reserve points. Reserve points are very important. You have to be very careful how you utilize them. But at this point, the game is really giving me a little bit an option here. Why would I waste my infantry against these Panzer IIs? A's. As you can see, these are the regular Panzer IIAs, not that blue Panzer IIA, which was again a unique unit compared to these guys, which is basic units. We have the 223, or should I say 222, with the 20mm cannon on top of it, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it has also additionally the MG34, but also 20mm cannon. Okay, we have this beautiful tank truck. Now this is the thing that it would be nice if they kept the refueling, and you know, if they added the refueling ability for your tanks and still kept the supply trucks and all that, because I just prefer it that way. Because all this is just for the campaign. You see these tankers, you see the actual repair trucks, the supply trucks, but you never really utilize them in the campaign or the multiplayer. So anyway, let's start utilizing the attack aircraft. This is gonna target specifically the units on the ground and mostly the enemy tanks. So let's see how this is gonna go. Because in general, this is a very good thing. You can upgrade it in the workshop to get more bombs as it goes. Let's zoom out completely. And destruction galore. There goes one of the Panzer IIAs. Let's see the next attack. It's gonna circle around for as much as possible. Here it goes nicely. Did not really well kill a bunch of infantry, though I would prefer to destroy the Demo Panzer II here than anything else. Wow, good job on killing the tent. 10 out of 10 Biznach right there. I mean, it's not gonna stay there for 58 days. So in general, I'm hoping it's gonna destroy the needed stuff. No more bombs, it would seem, sadly. I'm gonna leave it as is. He did kill a bunch of enemy units, as you can see here, gone. All the infantry squads are gone. There were, I think, 3 groups, 10 out of 10 massive explosion from the fuel tanker and the lag. Beautiful stuff. So it's gonna probably be GG, and not gonna be touching on the Panzer IIA unless he can't even see it, or maybe he just can't do anything against it. Though to be honest, those freaking aircrafts have like 38mm cannons on top of them. Yeah, I would think it will easily kill the Panzer IIA, which only has 50mm defense on front, side, and back. But doesn't really matter, because I'm just gonna move in with the anti-tank squads and involve everybody. To be honest, we can just rush it as fucked up, but I'm not gonna do it because that thing can rape your stuff, your infantry and all that. That's a 20mm cannon. So let's move in with the anti-tank units. Let's slowly move in with the riflemen and the assault units. Thank you very much. Beautiful. If you press Alt, you can actually see the range, the view range, and the attack range, which is the red line, right? So we're gonna move in and attack this bad boy from the sides and from the front, and be like a beast. It's gonna be like a beast. Let's see how we're gonna do doing the Futterlight down a little bit, and GG for that Panzer IIA.
Выполнена.
Отлично. Сборный пункт зачищен.
Новая задача.
Теперь нужно уничтожить зенитки около моста. К ним проще всего подобраться, пройдя через болото.
Okay, so we will have a secondary mission near this beautiful thing here. That is inside the village. We'll have to save some of our friends here. the Russians are captured by the Germans. That's a secondary objective, but we shall be doing that secondary objective in next time. I wish you the very best.
Штурмовик готов к вылету.
Thank you very much. Next time, a lot more drugs and more Blitzkrieg 3 goodness. I hope you enjoyed this because there's gonna be more.